Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And the next one is kind of interesting because I'm a dad, I have children, and I have life insurance. In fact, I am probably am I worth more dead? No, I'm still worth more than alive. Okay, so the original copy, so this is for child whole life. And so any insurance agency or insurance agent that wants to sell a whole life policy would have an ad for this. It's hard to think about our children growing up. We want them to be happy and healthy. But what happens if something happens to us? What will happen if we're not there for them? You're protected with a whole life policy, yada, yada, yada. I will not read the rest of this ad because immediately this template starts with talking about the children rather than let's just address the what is it, the 800-pound gorilla? Is that what it's called, or the 800-pound elephant? There's an
Elephant in the room, whatever.
800 elephant in the room. That's right, I'm mixing my metaphors. The elephant in the room. So when you think about your children growing up and you want them to be happy and healthy, that's all great, but it doesn't really pull me into the ad. Now, if you start with what happens if something happens to us and you reframe it in a different way that gets you thinking, that's the way I would start the ad. So for me, it's all about imagine vanishing suddenly. In an instant, you're gone. Now, people do not know that this is a life insurance ad at this point. They're just like, whoa, what the hell? Imagine vanishing in an instant. But I immediately go for emotion. I want to tug on the emotional heartstring of the reader. And so for me, this is the reality children face when a parent dies unexpectedly. They get a kiss goodbye from you in the morning. It's their last one. I immediately have tied together my opening line of you vanishing in an instant with what this is, right? Super painful. And so then I take the pain a little bit further. For me, I want to talk about the pain of what happens if you're gone. Who is going to take care of them financially, right? So I'm setting it up now. This is like a t-ball game. I'm putting the ball on top of the tee, and now we're getting ready to swing. And so now here comes like the sales pitch. And the sales pitch is really, really simple. With a whole life policy from Insure Name Here, your kids won't have to worry because you planned for the unexpected. They're taken care of for life. And then the last thing is going to be our CTA. We want a CTA that gets them to take action from moving to reading to doing something. Apply instantly online because this could be the last thing you ever do.
Oh my!
So I tie together the open of imagine vanishing suddenly in an instant you're gone with the closing line of imagine of apply instantly online because this could be the last thing you ever do. It wraps it up in a nice bow and it becomes very emotional. It doesn't matter who the individual is.
I was just going to say, we've got a mixed group on here. We've got people who have kids, people who are still young and single. I'm a dad with 4 kids, and I have had this, I don't know, situation pop up in my head thinking about this exact thing. And you put it into words in a way where it's like, we always hear about tap into the story that's in my head. I don't know that I ever would have, maybe in a conversation, if I was having a conversation with another dad and we were talking, maybe I would say something like that. But you pulled out in that first line, first of all, and notice also the choice of words. Imagine vanishing. It's a very deliberate word.
Yeah.
I mean, it says something, one word. And when we talk about, there's like 2 stories happening here, right? There's the story that Ken pulled out of his head and my head because we're both dads. And then he told another story with a single word, which was vanishing. Vanishing is a story, like some words carry stories by themselves. So this is a little bit heavy. The only thing I'll say is storytelling, tapping into human emotion is why every single ad will, I mean, whether it's like an irresistible offer, it's because you're tapping into an emotion, or whether it's an emotional based piece of copy right here, where you're tapping into the story that I've already said in my head. And by the way, I just did a training on how to do a VSL, right? And in a VSL, you tell the bad story, you replace it with the good news story, and then you give the call to action. That's like the whole framework. And this is a perfect example of telling the bad story. And I never articulated it in these exact ways, but they're all individual thoughts that
Yes.
passed my head. I didn't conjoin them in that way, but they've been there before. And so when he wrote this, first of all, I was like, I got a little bit like heavy. I was unpinned, so you couldn't see my face, but I was like, oh, geez. Because like I have 4 kids and they're taken care of. So that is the thing, is they're taken care of if I'm gone, but
Right. And Sam,
I
here's
still
the
worry
thing.
about it.
Here's the thing that really hits, whether you're a parent or not. When in that second group of sentences, the reality is this is the reality children face when a parent dies unexpectedly. They get a kiss goodbye from you in the morning. It's
That's
their
what made me
last one,
choke up.
right?
That's what made me choke up when you said it's the last one. I'm like, oh my
So
gosh.
when you look at this, you go, "Oh, this ad is not going to be TOS compliant." It absolutely is. First of all, you, fat, overweight, obese, suck, all these words. When somebody says you cannot use them in a Facebook ad, it's against.
Yeah.
You're going to absolutely wrong. It's the context of the wording that
Yes.
matters. The context, not the content. So, in this case, the reality is that children have to deal with something when a parent dies unexpectedly. We're not going to say you're going to die unexpectedly, but they get a kiss goodbye from you in the morning. That's the you that I want there in that ad, because what that's going to do is that's going to plant the seed of, oh, yeah, like it's going to paint a picture of me kissing my kid goodbye. And then that's the last one they ever get from me.